So welcome to the SIR podcast, the new SIR podcast with your host, Tony Cañas, Chief Motivational Officer at Insurance Nerds. And today I have with me Marty Ellingsworth, President at Salt Creek Analytics, longtime speaker at SIR, member of the board, and chair of the membership committee. Did I get that correct?
That is correct. Great job. I appreciate the chance to talk about SIR and to encourage other people to improve their careers and their networking and their just knowledge about how things work in insurance. One of the most challenging and complicated industries with kind of a never-ending appetite for smarter, better ideas for some of the oldest problems that the economy in every household faces.
Okay, so looking at your LinkedIn, you've been involved in the research side of insurance basically since your first job.
And the research side of using data for 40 years. So the idea that there's always new technology, there's always new software code, but the instance of what we think we know about people and places and things and businesses and weather all come down to the artifact of the data stored in all those different systems. So my whole career has been sort through the garbage of other people's systems, try to tie it together in new ways, help them find customer identity, help them find fraudulent, suspicious behavior identities, basically resolve things down to the entities that they're either protecting themselves from or protecting as customers, from the perils of insurance. So it's a constantly renewing resource, especially with connected things, the IoT of everything, the what do you want to call it? Smartphoneification of the world. These apps and super apps and everything in between is generating data from exotic telemetry to plain old transactional stuff. So the ability now to jam all that into one big fat computer file, maybe in the cloud, and keep sorting it out on a regular basis is kind of, people say table stakes, but most people aren't there yet because the identity is still such a core problem for everybody with multiple core systems. And that, I think, describes the entirety of insurance, whether it's P&C, life, or health, or disability, and all the vendors in between. Understanding who you're talking about and what the current matter is still very difficult today.
Okay. And how did you get involved with SIR originally?
So I was a executive with Verisk Analytics. At that time, it was called ISO, and they invited me to be a speaker. So the Diana Lee, for people who remember Diana, was my first entree into the SIR community, and I think that was somewhere in the early 2000s. So with an invitation to meet and greet people involved in risk, to now having gone through Verisk and USAA and a few other companies, including JD Power. I got JD Power to join and then or rejoin. I can't remember their history exactly, but from there became a board member and part of the membership committee. So in my statesman years, it feels good to be able to share the hacks, career hacks and life hacks of how do you become better at everything you want to do at work, so that you can bring your most authentic self at your best foot forward level. And being informed is like the minimum.
All right. So after years of speaking at the conference, what led you to actually join the organization?
The ability to step up on a larger stage and give back to the industry, I think, was the impetus, because it's all powered by volunteers. These aren't paid positions. There's no perceived benefit of being inside except contributing and helping the industry and the membership. perform better. You know, staying involved is something that is part of my motivation, especially as I'm in my 60s. I'm not done, but you know, I've done enough that I can contribute to organizations that I think are valuable to the industry and that I think I can make an impact with. And SIR is one of those. You'll see me speak at CIS too, so it's not like the actuaries don't matter, but there's a whole bunch of organizational boxes besides the quantitative actuarial boxes that matter in an insurance organization. CPCU is another one. AIS for claims is another. But the core of understanding customers and understanding insurance products and the competitive nature of the industry, I think, is squarely in this SIR remit.
Okay, so who should consider membership in SIR? What type of insurance professionals?
You know, there's the real answer and a good answer. A good answer is, you know, everyone from competitive intelligence, everyone with a product mindset, everyone in innovation. So that's a good answer. The real answer is, you know, the top executives of every insurance company should care about the knowledge they have of insurance and how they impart that knowledge, you know, within their cultures to each of their employees. So I don't feel that enough executives are, you know, rank and file members of SIR. But you know, most of the top 10 and many of the top 20 P&C insurance companies, especially personal lines, are enterprise corporate members. So it's good to see that they're voting with their, you know, wallets and you know, actively engaging to be part of SIR.
Fantastic. Are you speaking next year in KC?
You know, I'm attending in KC. I'm not planning to speak in KC because as part of membership, I'm more involved in recruiting people to be on the stage and to make a better draw. But I'll be in the audience, and certainly I'm writing a bunch of things right now on everything from risk-based pricing and auto to you know, cyber awareness, and even into, you know, the loan markets of how household financial stress is creating you know, more insurance risk as well as general risk across insurance neighborhoods.
You're posting interesting articles, what, like every week, every couple of weeks?
That's my cadence. I mean, my practice right now is I'm an advisor or a contributor or a shareholder with about 9 startups. You know, and some startups are 20 years old and some startups are 20 weeks old. So it's a mix of AI and data and analytics, you know, where I look at what have I seen and done in the last 20 years and what's new and contributive to, you know, my old world hat. And those are the ones that I'm stepping up to help, either as a new way to segment risk or a new way to have insight about customers or a new way to craft a bridge between digital and cyber to legal entity and like everyday risk.
Yeah, for listeners, if you haven't followed Marty on LinkedIn, definitely do so. That's a wealth of interesting research about insurance coming out all the time.
It is a point of just professional interest, but the more you share, the more you find people that have like-minded interests, and that's the same benefit you get from being part of SIR. The Society of Insurance Research has active membership events for all the lines of business, you know, and for all the lines of insurance. There's you know, special call-out groups for data, for analytics, for AI. It's a continuing, you know, I'll say groundswell of knowledge where there's a lot of two-way interaction, and you know, vendors show up at the meetings too, but it's not like Risk World or ITC where there's, you know, 10,000 people. They're still very intimate, you know, 200-300 person events. You know, I'd say curated speakers and you know, very knowledgeable, you know, expert attendees.
The content's fantastic, and I was at the Chicago conference this year, and I found it to be a very friendly. I've been to some small events where it's the same people every year, and they're it's hard to be the new guy. I found SIR to be very easy to be the new person in the room.
Well, you mean you're like you're new like an old shoe. The you fit in because you're part of the fabric of the industry, and you're certainly a student of what it takes to manage and understand risk. So as a bird of a feather, they are very accommodating, very welcoming. They're not clubbish.
Exactly. I didn't find that uh yeah, I didn't find it to be a close community that is hard to get into.
Yeah. I think that that might be of all the different uh, professional groups I've been a part of in the 40 years, of my career and the last 25 in insurance. SIR is the most hometown authentic group of practitioners that I can say I've walked through the doors of.
And if you're in the product or analytics side, uh, it's a great home base for somewhat niche specialties in insurance.
Absolutely. One of the newest members last year was a large multi-billion dollar personal lines carrier who had been, very, very quickly catching up, if that's the right way to say it, on predictive analytics, on digital engagement, on customer lifetime value, and how risk fits into all that. And the discussion was pretty easy. I said, well, you've got a few hundred new people that mostly came from outside of the insurance environment. How are you training them up to like just learn the vocabulary of insurance and understand the the interworkings of both your organization and the industry and the competitive environment? And they go, not very thoughtfully and not very well. I said, well, there's a lot of content that they could like absorb at their own pace, with their own appetites, waiting behind the firewall called, membership access. And you can go out to the internet and search for SIR material all the time, but having the ability to, work inside the portal, find prior content, contact the authors of that content, put questions out to the bulletin board, and just get feedback from even staff at SIR headquarters to help connect you to people that you need to talk to. Yeah, Kismet.
All right, Marty, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for making time, Tony. It was great seeing you in Chicago. Still love my card trick, your memorial, and look forward to seeing you in Kansas City.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Bye bye.